How much does it cost to get your private pilot's license? Stick around to find out. Welcome to Pilot Discovery. Whether you're on the fence about becoming a pilot, or you've already begun taking flying lessons, or you've recently earned your own private pilot license, my goal is to share my experience and insights to hopefully inspire you to help you navigate your way through your own aviation journey. Have you ever dreamed of getting a private pilot's license, but you were curious about the cost? In this video, we're going to go through and break down all of the costs involved in your flight training in order to get your private pilot's license, so that there aren't any surprises and you know exactly what to expect. And be sure to stick around for some helpful tips on how you can save thousands of dollars toward your flight training. But before we do that, if you've ever contemplated whether or not getting a private pilot's license is even worth it in the first place, then check out this video here.
Now, when it comes to the cost of flight training, there are two major expenses: aircraft rental and flight instruction. Now, depending on the type of aircraft that you train in, your average rental cost could run you anywhere from $100 to $200 per hour. And this is per hour of engine time that the engine is running on the airplane. And this typically includes the cost of fuel. Now, in some cases, you might have to pay for fuel separately. However, as a general rule of thumb, the cost of the rental plus the fuel will run you anywhere from $100 to $200 per hour. And then you have your flight instruction. Now, depending on the flight school that you train with across the country, the average hourly rate could be anywhere from $25 an hour to $50 per hour. Now, one of the factors that contributes to your total cost of flight training is how many hours of training that you undertake. According to the FAA, pilots are required to undergo a minimum of 40 hours of instruction in order to get their private pilot's license. Now, that's just the minimum. The national average, according to the FAA, is anywhere from 60 to 75 hours. All right, so now that we know how many hours it takes to get your pilot's license and how much it costs to rent an aircraft per hour, we can do the calculation that given that it could take anywhere from 40 hours to 75 hours of training, and the aircraft rental could be anywhere from $100 to $200 an hour, we're looking at a grand total of anywhere between $4,000 to $15,000 in your flight training costs in terms of aircraft rental fees. All right, now that we know the flight training costs in terms of aircraft rental and flight instruction, the grand total for aircraft rental and flight instruction would be anywhere from $5,000 to $18,750. This is indeed a pretty broad range. Chances are your actual flight training costs of rental plus instruction will fall somewhere in between. All right, now that we've covered the aircraft rental and the flight instructor costs, now it's time to talk about the ground school costs. Ground school is a requirement in order to get your private pilot's license. Typically, there are two major options for ground school. One is to attend in-person classes, either one-on-one with your flight instructor, which could range anywhere from $25 an hour to $100 an hour, or it could be a fixed price for the entire series of classes that could range anywhere from $100 to $1,000. The other option is to enroll in an online self-paced class. Typically, this could cost anywhere from $100 to $500. And this payment model for online self-paced classes does vary widely. In some cases, it may even require a monthly subscription, whereas in other cases, it's just a flat fee for the entire course. Now, there are pros and cons for both in-person classes versus online self-paced classes. In-person classes allow for direct real-time access to the instructor and fellow classmates, be this in a group setting or in a one-on-one setting with your instructor. Uh, Whereas the advantage of an online self-paced class is that you can take the class at your own pace, on your own time, and you have access to rewatch the material an unlimited amount of time. Both in person as well as online self-paced grad school options will enable you to satisfy the requirements to get an endorsement to take your written flight exam. Now, on the note of grad school, there are various study materials that you would need to avail yourself of as you go through your grad school training. These could include the cost of textbooks, which, if you prefer to use traditional textbooks instead of an online grad school, it could run you in the neighborhood of $100 or so. You will also need to get at least one or two aviation charts. They do have these available online for free. However, as part of your flight training, you will very likely need to invest in some paper charts. Another optional study aid would be to invest in some type of flight simulator software. This is entirely optional, but many pilots may find this to be useful to help them develop their proficiency as part of their flight training. Next up are the exams and testing fees. In order to get your private pilot's license, you will need to pass an FAA written knowledge test, which currently costs $175. You will also need to schedule and pass an FAA check ride with a designated pilot examiner. This involves both the aircraft rental, which is 1 hour of flight, which could run you anywhere from $100 to $200, plus the examiner's fee, which could cost you anywhere from $500 to $800. And then we have the medical certificate, which is mandatory for all aspiring pilots to obtain in order to get their private pilot's license. A third-class medical certificate exam typically could cost anywhere from $75 to $175. Now, as you undergo your pilot training, you will find that you will need to purchase some miscellaneous supplies along the way. Here are just a few examples of supplies that you will want to purchase over the course of your private pilot training, such as a logbook, a knee board or yoke mount, an electronic flight bag, which is a fancy way of saying an aviation app, a fuel strainer, and then a headset. There are many other supplies you may want to purchase, but these are among the most common. All right, now that we've covered the costs of flight training, let's talk about how to fund your flight training. There are a number of different options for funding your flight training. The first is to pay as you go. Pay for each flight lesson, pay for each session with your flight instructor, and this way you're not incurring any debt. And you can just pay as you earn your money. For example, from every paycheck, if you hold a regular job, you can set aside some money in your household budget to pay for your flight training as you go. Now, let's say you can't do that, or you want to be able to pay up front or pay more quickly for your lessons, then you would want to take out either a traditional loan or an aviation loan. A third option is to actually get an associate's degree in aviation flight technology from a local community college or a university. Finally, you can set up a sync fund. Now, this is similar to pay-as-you-go, but this is essentially a budgeting technique that will help you put away the money that you need for your flight training. Now, let's talk about ways you can save money on your flight training. The first of which is to train consistently and frequently. The more often you train with less gaps in between lessons, the quicker you will develop mastery over your aviation skills, and as a result, you will not need to spend as much time reviewing and repeating, and you'll thus be able to save money overall on flight training costs. Secondly, is to invest in flight simulator software. Now, this might seem a little counterintuitive that how can uh, spending money on a flight simulator save you money? Well, in the long run, if you have a flight simulator at home, such as Microsoft Flight Simulator, then when you're not flying, you can review and practice what you've learned uh, at home. And by doing this, uh, when you go into each subsequent flying lesson, you will be that much more proficient, and in turn, it will take you fewer hours to get your license, thus saving you money. Thirdly, is to sign up for an online ground school, particularly one that has a one-time flat fee for unlimited access. This, as opposed to paying uh, your flight instructor an hourly rate for one-on-one ground school lessons, will help you in the long term because it's a much more affordable option, and it allows you to get unlimited access to review your ground school lessons as many times as you would like. And then, if your local airport has the option for you to prepay for aircraft rental hours in bulk in exchange for a discounted hourly rate per aircraft rental hour, then and you have the funds for this, then this would be something you would definitely want to take advantage of. And then finally, if your local airport has a flying club, then it is highly recommended that you join that because by paying your monthly flying club dues, in exchange for that, your hourly aircraft rental fees will actually go down, thus saving you money on your overall flight training costs.
Thank you very much for watching. If you found this video to be helpful in terms of helping you get a better understanding of the costs of getting a pilot's license, then be sure to like this video. And also be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you can uh, stay in touch as we will be producing more content for aspiring pilots such as yourself.